Welcome to African Voices. I'm Aritopo, and this week I'm introducing you to changemakers who are making profound fashion statements. In Cameroon, a woman is helping to boost that country's fashion industry by using the tricks of the trade that she learned in New York City.
We must tell our stories. We must be confident to own what we are and who we are, and then sell truly who we are to the world. I use the Cameroonian traditional regalia, the togo, to make outfits worn by people around the world. My name is Kibonen Nfi, and I'm a change maker. So we are at Marché Congo. And normally this is where I come to source every kind of fabric that I use. And considering that I use a lot of plain, more Western fabric with the embellishment of the embroidery, in this area I'm able to find all of that.
Kibonen Nfi has made a name for herself in the fashion world, taking styles from her Cameroonian heritage and intertwining them with modern looks.
I really did not get into fashion intentionally. Fashion to me was a discovery, but once I discovered it, then I realized it had been in me all along.
In 2009, the former banker says she moved to New York and started working a retail job at Saks Fifth Avenue.
New York is one of those places that can completely swallow you up, your identity and everything. The first thing for me was, if I have to survive in New York, I have to be different. I have to look different. I started appreciating my culture with new and different eyes. I had an opportunity to make a dress for myself. I wore it to work and people just loved it. A lady actually asked me, did you buy your dress upstairs? Like working in Saks, you know, upstairs is the big designers. And I was like, no, I just had it made. And this lady insisted to get one for herself. So I started making clothes literally for one client who saw me wearing it and liked it. Then I decided to go fully into fashion. After that, I went back to school to study fashion.
Kibonen quickly found her own style, drawing upon the elaborate handcrafted designs of Cameroonian clothes and adding a contemporary twist.
So the togo is an intricate kind of embroidery which is done using wool fabric, and it's done on garments that are worn by the royalty in the Northwest region and on special occasions. That entire concept of modernizing the togo was something that I started. So I am building a brand history with my tradition, with what the royalty wear, but I'm just making it more trendy or fashionable for the everyday person.
She launched her eponymous label Kibonen in 2012. Soon enough, she was dressing famous clientele from US presenter Gayle King to Kenyan actress Lupita Nyong'o in her Togo-style dresses.
While I was in school, I used to sketch Lupita almost every day. She was a huge inspiration for the young African girl finding themselves in the wild of America, pursuing their dreams and actually doing it. So when she wore my dress, it was a huge deal for me.
Kibonen says one of her top sellers is the Lupita dress, which is what she's sourcing fabrics for today.
I'm hoping that with what I got, I'll be able to fulfill the order of the clients that are lined up. Sometimes what I find now, I might not find it next week or the week after.
Until 2020, Kibonen lived and operated her business out of New York, but now she calls Cameroon home once again.
The honest truth is I've always wanted to function from Cameroon. Ever since I became a designer, the fact that I use the traditional embroidery always gave me one foot in Cameroon. So I have decided to move back to Cameroon several times, but it just never worked out. But this time, in the middle of the pandemic, New York City was like a no-go zone. And when I thought of the fact that being back here, doing what I love, giving back to my community, helping to develop the fashion industry in Cameroon was definitely what I wanted to be doing.
She says it's proven to be quite difficult, but rewarding nonetheless.
I would say there is no fashion industry that exists in Cameroon, which is one of the challenges for me, and it is in every strata of the chain. Cameroon fashion industry. We have a lot of people who sew clothes, we have a lot of tailors, but we do not really have fashion brands. There are very few people who brand themselves as designers. The Cameroon fashion industry needs a lot of education. And then the community has not come to accept fashion made in Cameroon. You know, we still think it has to come from France, it has to come from someplace else. So there is a lot of sensitization that has to be done.
One way she's trying to put Cameroon on the fashion map is through collaborations.
So today we are at Buea Mountain Hotel and we are doing the F-Art collaboration between Kibonen fashion brand and Max Lyonga, a legendary artist. So the F-Art event is a blend of fashion and art. You know, art is always subject to fashion, and fashion finds its way of being subject to art. And great artists in the world have always done collaborations with fashion brands. You see the models there are just posing, just like the art pieces are also just standing there. So that was what we wanted, something new, something different, something innovative in this environment. Designers here have to work a lot on collaborations with, you know, other celebrities. Music goes a lot with fashion, film goes a lot with fashion, sports goes a lot with fashion. So we have to come up with that way of intentionally placing our product.
Next, we see how Kibonen's designs come to life and how she's giving back to her community.
I look at fashion and I say it calls for people to be intentional, right?
Kibonen Nfi has been in fashion for over a decade, running 2 clothing brands that champion her Cameroonian culture.
If you wear a piece of a dress or a piece of cloth made by an African in a factory in Africa, you're actually helping to create jobs. You're creating a change, a chain of change. We can see people's children go to school. We can see people's families empowered. And honestly, there is no better way for us to think about our economy, developing the people of Africa, rebranding Africa, rebuilding our self-confidence than for us to scrap the mentality of, oh, I must get something from abroad. Consuming made in Cameroon, consuming made in Africa, it's really important.
Kibonen's latest venture is helping elevate her country's fashion status, while also giving back to war-torn communities.
So we are at the Cameroon Clothing Company. It's a full CMT factory where we do the cut, make and trim of garments. I had been nursing this desire to set up a factory, and I had set up one in 2016 in Bamenda, which wound up unfortunately because of the unrest.
Since 2017, Cameroon has been in an ongoing civil conflict that has displaced nearly 1 million people.
So we set up this place in the heart of the pandemic and in the heart of the unrest. We were also looking for opportunities to give the displaced people a chance to work and also just help create more jobs in this environment, because we know that with the unrest, a lot of jobs were lost. So we provided another opportunity for people who are skilled in tailoring, in cutting, in pattern making to come together. Some we took with no skill at all, and we trained them and then eventually hired some. For now, we are located here in Buea, but we are looking at expanding to Yaoundé, to Douala. Actually, we are working on a project that can enable us have a production facility like this in every city, where we can house maybe up to 1,000 people even. Why not? So here we are doing the traditional embroidery. It's called the togo. It's an intricate embroidery done by hand using wool. So one of the things we really pride ourselves in here also is the fact that we try to preserve the craftsmanship of our culture.
Empowering her female employees is something Kibonen also takes pride in.
A lot of the women in Africa are really marginalized, and working with them, I experience it every day. I do a lot of motivational talking, inspirational talking. When you take a direction in fashion, you're carrying people with you. You're carrying also a concept. Before we started doing it in fashion, nobody cared about the Togo, right? But now we've been able to push it, tell stories, transform narratives. So I always find a way to uplift them. I equally make them see the chain, the supply chain, and how important and valuable they are in this aspect of it. If they are not there, I'm not going to be there, and people are not going to wear clothes. Clothing is as important as food. If we want to be leaders in this industry, we have to strive to look into different cultures and make them more modern and revolutionize them and send them to the world. Thank you all so much. As far as the fashion industry in Cameroon is concerned, I really wish we can develop more brands that have authentic identities from so many different things that we have in Cameroon as our culture. I want us to look at fashion like a real tool for economic development. In a nutshell, I just want Cameroon to become a fashion country. I want Douala or Yaoundé or even Buea to be named as one of the fashion capitals. And who can do that better than us,